So cool. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are we live?
What up? Yeah, we're live. We're live. We're on there. What up, world? It's your girl Shay J from CTN Media, from Denver to Detroit. Before I introduce my special guest, let me talk a little bit about how we met. The crazy thing is, so last year we were playing the Black Agenda Tour, on tour featuring David Banner, and I had this whole thing of, I was a project manager and the host, and I had got it all together, like, oh, we're going to Detroit, we're going to do it at this venue, and I thought it was all locked in. 2 weeks before the event happened, I start getting more in contact with my Detroit people, and they're like, so you're doing the event where? And I'm like, I'm doing it here. I'm not gonna use the name, I don't wanna talk about the place. And they're like, actually we have a better place for you. Like, you wanna represent Detroit, right? You wanna be in the place that Detroit respects, right? You wanna be in the branded spot of Detroit. And I'm like, yeah, so I'm doing it here. They're like, no, you're doing it at store 313. So 2 weeks before the event, we switched everything over to store 313. And right now, I'm sitting here with the visionary, the owner, the man behind the plan, Mr. Fame of store 313.
Yes, what up?
Yes, what's up?
Thanks
Absolutely.
for having me.
Thank you for having us.
For sure.
We're excited. So it's crazy. Like, the success of the Black Agenda was amazing. And even when we left Detroit, we go on this tour and everybody still kept talking about Detroit. And the biggest thing they were like was the venue. Like, you know, when you think of a store, you think of like, we're gonna go to a store, but this was way more than a store. David Banner was so excited when he talked about 313. He was like, this is what success looks like. This is what our young boys and girls need to see. This is what we should all be striving to do when we're talking about having a community-based thing that leverages national products and local products, and you are literally the success story of Detroit.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. You know,
Yeah.
when we put together, when I was building this store out, I was very, very, very intentional about using it as a place where we could convene and community and curate community. And so everything is on wheels. Everything is kind of open for us. Because we got the big garage and the bay door.
I love that.
And the whole idea is to be able to, you know, interchange the floor space so that we can have events and activations as what we're doing now.
And I love that. Literally, when I came, so I had to come check out the spot a couple days before the event, and there was a group of black men and women gathered together running. And that blew my mind, because number one, in Denver, you know, I'm from Denver, we don't have as much culture, but to see black people with the initiative of health and then coming together running, but making it fun and innovative, and they were all gathered here at store 313.
Shout out to We Run 313. Listen, We Run 313, that's my guy Lance and Joe. Let it be noted, we were the first place, the first store to hold the first run. Let that be noted.
Let that be noted.
Shay, she was here from Denver to witness that. That was dope. Since then, We Run 313 has gone on to do big, huge things. They've been in marathons all over the country, Miami, and everywhere else. I'm super proud of
That's
guys.
so dope. And they really encouraged me. So I was telling them, I'm glad to know who it is. I want to get in contact with them next. We have to sit down with them. And I think things like that need to be replicated across the world. That was something to see. Because sometimes we talk about health and wellness, but we don't make it fun. We don't make it attractive. So coming to a place like this and making it launch and making it seem cool and then having a drink afterwards, I was like, that's how we do it.
Go take a run and have a nice sip and shop afterwards. We had some incentives, some sales incentives for everybody who came out, so they were able to shop and get some discounts. It was a pretty cool event. We do a lot of that. We do a lot of events similar, events where we engage organizations, groups, and community. And, to meet at the store and fellowship. It's all about networking.
It's all about networking. And I think you have really made a great platform here. And before I dig more into the store, I want to talk a little bit about who Fame was before the Fame of 313. Who was Fame growing up? What was that like?
Well, so Fame, first and foremost, Fame is an acronym. It's an acronym for fashion, art, music, entertainment.
Love it.
And so that's my life lens. That's kind of how I look at things. And so I've been making and selling clothes since I was a kid, since I was 12.
Wow.
Right. So I'm 40 now. And
okay.
So before 313, the Fame was Fame with a different brand.
Yeah.
When I created 313 back in 2009, my idea was to come up with something that represented Detroit in its fullness. We were getting a bad rep around that time. Everything was about our bankruptcy. It was about how rough it was in the city.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of negative generalizations and stereotype and narrative surrounding our city. And so I just wanted to do something dope. I have I approach my business from a spiritual standpoint first. I believe that we spirits first. We operate in the human experience. And so I was called to do what I do. This is my gift. I'm operating in my purpose. And so I want to use my gift to do something dope about Detroit.
Yeah.
And I was taking a shower one day and I remember meditating on the idea. Just, you know how you kind of obsess over things in your
Absolutely.
head? And I was just thinking over and over, what could I do? What would I call it? And then 313 popped up in my head. I said, you know what, that's kind of cool. Because it's a different way to say 313, which is our city's area code.
Absolutely.
Right.
I absolutely love that. And I talk a lot about having a vision, coming up with, doing meditations that help get you further to where you want to be. So you're right on track with that. What is something that you live by? What is Fame's mantra or affirmation that you live by and that really moves you?
I have a bunch of them, but the one that I've really been embracing lately is a quote that I've come up with, and I've been saying it for some years. Is nightmares are dreams too.
Ooh,
nightmares are dreams too, and nightmares are dreams too, because a lot of times on our journey for success, we call ourselves, we're chasing our dreams, right?
Right.
We're trying to fulfill our dreams.
Yeah.
And what we don't calculate, or what we don't consider sometimes, is the nightmares, is the problems, are the challenges. And so when those nightmares arise, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll shrink to that. We'll take a step back, or we'll damn, we didn't see this part of it. And then we'll kind of get away from it because we didn't expect the challenge.
Yeah.
But I'm here to say, you have to embrace your struggles. You have to really find value in your challenges. And that's the only way you can get a benefit from it. So nightmares are dreams too.
I love that. That's good. And I think that falls in line with one thing I really try to highlight when interviewing and talking to people, because I think we forget that people that have success, once it wasn't always successful, you go through things. What was one of the number one challenges that you had to deal with in building this brand?
Number one challenge is I had to deal with in building 313. So when I started, when I trademarked 313, Detroit wasn't popular amongst Detroiters.
Whoa. So that's not just Denver people that do that. Right. That's good to know.
Right.
Okay.
It wasn't, we weren't wearing shirts that said Detroit. Right. That wasn't a big deal. Mm-hmm. Our city hadn't progressed in a brand since like a New York or LA.
Right. Absolutely.
And so the number one hat at the time was a New York Yankees hat.
Of course.
But now it's a Detroit Tigers hat.
I love it.
So part of the issue, or my challenge early on with 313 as a brand, was getting Detroiters to see the value in having a brand.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's real.
I think you're hitting such a big thing that we deal with across the board, because there's so many things about fantasizing about being somewhere else other than where you're at.
Right. It's escapism.
It is. Escapism. It's like, if I were the New York Yankee hat, somehow it's better than my own city, put my own city on my back. And I think you found a way to make 313 so cool and so relatable. And this is what people want to see. They want to be a part of the sense of home, but understanding that you can make your own city blow up, and you can be dope in your own place.
And a lot of times too, you can kind of believe the hype. And so when the news is constantly berating us with the idea of Detroit is not the place to be, even if you hear, you might believe that. Maybe I should move to Atlanta. Maybe I should move somewhere else. Maybe I should. And so, we all deal with escapism, right? Yeah. So you throw on a New York Yankee hat, not so much to say my city, not so much to say, I don't really appreciate my city, right, but more to say like I wouldn't mind being here. And so you can't buy a ticket to go there. You know what I'm saying? So you can go get a $30 hat versus a $300 ticket, and you have a piece of New York with you. That's what
they do.
And so and it's no different when we visit other cities and we get like mementos or souvenirs. And so it just was a matter of really, really showing the brand value in Detroit to Detroiters. And I wasn't, thank God. And I'll be remiss to not give credit to where credit is due. Mm-hmm. Other brands started afterwards, and they started doing more Detroit branding that helped as well.
Absolutely.
Detroit hustles harder. Detroit versus everybody.
So we know that's one of the biggest brands out there from Detroit. Yeah. Detroit versus everybody. Yeah. And I think I want to fall into that a little bit. Sometimes we get into the Black community and we talk about support. And what does support look like? And how do we show up from one another? Mm-hmm. And how was that support system? Did it come immediately from your family and friends? Was it from outsiders? What did that look like for you?
Well, so with 313, when I initially started 313, I had a lot of history and experience in placing my own brands into retail stores already. Okay. And so when I developed the brand, the idea was to put it into some local stores that was hot, like some popping stores, and then the rest would, take care of itself. I did that, but it didn't sell. It didn't sell well. And so because it didn't sell well, obviously the stores wasn't reordering. Right. And so I found myself in a situation to where I had to get back on the grind, hustle off the hip, out the trunk, out the basement, at the barbershop, the beauty salon, showing up in places with the shirts. And, you know, and let's be honest, we being 100% transparent.
Let's do it.
If you have a business and you're relying solely on your friends and family to support you in your business, you don't have a business.
You don't have a business, right? And your feelings are gonna be hurt every time.
Every time, and it's not their obligation to make sure that your business thrives, right?
That's good.
You know, you have to have a business that feels a need, feels that services a need, that people want to patronize.
Absolutely.
And so that's the most important thing first. Having something that's feasible, having something that's viable, having something that people actually want to support.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the support from friends and family is something that, you know, you should want if you're doing good business. But to expect it just because they're your friends and family, I don't think that's fair. You know, it's not fair to them or even to yourself. It's like cheating. Like cheating almost. And you know, it's no shortcuts. It's no shortcuts.
You just said a word to people, I think, and that's a huge one because so many times I know entrepreneurs, they give up because someone's not rooting for them, the people that they think should be rooting.
Right.
They don't see that. And I tell people all the time, that's your vision, that's not theirs.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to become successful for people that know you to really jump on the bandwagon and clap for you. And that's real.
And that's real. Yeah, that's real.
Is.
And that's real. I mean, it's one of those things too. It's no shortcuts to the top, and it's no shortcuts. And if you take one, you're gonna end up having to come back. So it's take more time to get to where you're going.
Yeah.
So the idea is to actually develop something that's worth patronizing,
right?
And then doing your best that you can to show others the value in what you've created.
Absolutely.
You know, and so early on with 313, people didn't see the value. The items didn't sell well in the store, and I had to beat the pavement for years. You know, I trademarked 313 in November of 2009.
Wow.
And I didn't open my first store till August of 2015.
That's
so that was
grind.
6 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so many people give up on that fourth year because they haven't seen the return. And this is a success. Keep going.
Yeah, of course you have to. Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to stick to the script until it flips. You have to stick to the script until it flips. You know?
You're not gonna just keep dropping all these jewels like that.
Well, I mean, they all shirts. You get the shirts. The shirts are readily available at 313store.com. But you have to stick to the script till it flips because you'd be surprised how far the Most High would take you. And that was one of the things that I would remind myself.
Yeah.
Through the journey, you know, when you know you're doing something worth doing, although people might not necessarily see the value in it. If you know that it's value, you have to stick to the script, right? You got to keep doing it. You have to keep pressing upon it. You have to keep pressing upon the thing. You have to keep improving on it. So I just kept selling 313. I kept developing 313.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, like May of 2015, I came up with my first 313 like certified hit, and from there it's been, you know, just building and leveraging on that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's never you know, people like to say it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
And that's so cliche, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's no destination.
Yeah.
You arrive nowhere. You know, when you arrive to where you think you were wanted to be, you realize,
I want more. I need to go there. No, real talk, and the journey is so important. I think sometimes we discredit the journey and we just credit little successes.
Yes.
You know, we're like, oh, that's not big enough. That's not, but it's a part of the journey. And that's like, no, that was big enough then. Yeah. And then there's another big enough, and there's another big enough.
Right.
And honoring those moments is huge. Yeah.
Yes, it's a big deal.
I absolutely love that. What do you think, in sticking in that advice realm, what is some of the worst advice that you've gotten? Because I think sometimes we tell people, like, this is the advice I have for you, but what's some advice that you're like, that was horrible? No, not at all. Don't want to do that.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Relax. Right? No, I'm just being honest, right? Like, I mean, although it's a time and a place to take it easy, it's a time and a place to relax. It's not that many times for places in entrepreneurship. It's not. And so I think it's just like the nightmares are dreams kind of quote. You have to embrace the chaos to be an entrepreneur. To be an effective entrepreneur, you have to kind of embrace the fact that things are not always in order. If you're a real meticulous, gotta do things by the book, things have to be in order all the time, you may want to work for an entrepreneur.
That's good. That's really good.
And you might get a lot further,
you
know, working for an entrepreneur because to be an entrepreneur, to be an effective entrepreneur, you have to be a little haphazard, you have to be a little bit of a risk taker, you have to be a little bit of crazy. A little.
No, you do.
You
Absolutely.
do.
That's why we probably all get along because it's a little crazy. It has to get
I mean, if I could fire myself
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah,
a bunch
absolutely.
of times.
I fire myself some days a week. I'm like, you know what? You did horrible. You need to sit back down and rethink this out because that was horrible.
Right. And so
it was real.
it's definitely a different mindset when it comes to working for someone versus having employees. And I'm learning all the while. You know, I'm learning all the while.
Absolutely. And I love that being able to be teachable and learning. And what does that look like for you when you think about the vision of what is next for 313? What is next for you?
What is next for 313? Expansion.
Yeah.
Expansion is next for 313. Are we ready to get our Ralph Lauren on?
Okay.
You know, you asked me a question earlier, like what was the fame before 313? Now, I work with my hands. I do upholstery. I do interior design. I work with you know, fabrics of all sorts. And so we're looking to do more home goods. We're looking to do more furniture.
I love this.
You know, we just don't want to get you fresh. You want to get your house fresh.
Right. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to, you got to get your dining room, your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, your bathroom. They got to get fresh for 313 too. So those are the things and the items and the products that we're working on now.
I love that. What would fame say? I really like to work with youth too and talk to the students because sometimes I think we miss them out in the conversation. But if we're going to let them be successful entrepreneurs later, we have to grab them now. And then we have to talk about that mindset piece. So what would fame say to fame 15 years ago or even just 15-year-old fame? What would you say to that 15-year-old guy that was sitting there and developing as a 15-year-old?
What would I say to myself? I would tell the 15-year-old fame to look at the long game. Plan out. You know, 5, 10 years, longer strategy. You know, that's what I would say. Because a lot of times when you're younger, you're short-sighted. However, it works to your advantage sometimes too, right? It's duality and everything. It's pros and cons and everything.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times it's like ignorance is bliss, right? It's like since you don't know what you can get into or what can go wrong, you just do it and don't
until
care.
Everything messed up.
Or it works.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would say be patient and plan long term.
Yeah.
Like think about I would tell the 15-year-old thing to plan for when you're 30. Yeah, I was planning for when I was 16.
I think we all were. I was planning for when I was 15 and a half. Like,
Right.
I'm going to be 15 and a half soon, and by then I'm really going to be going viral. Like, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Exactly.
I love that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this because we are in this Valentine's Day love season right now when I'm in Detroit. And I think a lot of times when we talk about success, sometimes we have to talk about the other part that happens with it. And is there anything you feel like you had to give up relationship-wise for success? Or how does that play in and how does that work?
Oh, man. So, shouts out to any woman that ever been with me.
He appreciates you. Even if he didn't say it, then he appreciates you.
Shout out to any and every woman that ever been with fame. You know, I know, you know, my business is my passion. It's my first love. My vision that I have that what the Most High gave me when it comes to my business is priority number one to me.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, navigating a personal relationship when it comes to social relationship with a woman has always been challenging because, you know, your counterpart want to feel like they're the apple of your eye. They want to feel like they're number one to you.
Absolutely.
And
you're like, actually, this business is really important.
It is. And I've sacrificed my own health.
Absolutely.
I've sacrificed my own time, personal time.
So it's not even personal.
It's not personal. It's not personal.
You have to realize that it's not personal.
Yeah. I was called to do what I'm doing, and it's bigger than an idea. It's my life purpose. And so, I've definitely, I'm sure that I've been inconsiderate to in relationships, not just personal, but just even like cousins and friends,
all
and
of
aunties,
those.
and this.
Because you have to show up so much for this vision, you show up so much for yourself.
Exactly.
So that's hard to,
Exactly. And I would rather. I would rather be here first. And that's just the truth. And until
I love that honesty. Thank you.
And until I started honoring that about myself, I would always find myself being conflicted with how do I relegate or delegate my time and my love. And so I would say, you know, I would be honest with myself. Say, well, you know, my mom or this or that, and I gotta spend time. But really, I would rather be here. And so once I start being honest with myself with that, the people that I know and love, they will come. You know, I would attract that here.
Absolutely.
And
Because now you're not lying to yourself, and it's okay to be like, yo, this is what's first. Because when we talk about what are we leaving for generations to come, what are we leaving for our family, we have to have this together in order to go to the next step. Like, it has to be there.
Definitely.
And I think that's a great way to put it. Like, so many times we're not honest with ourselves, you know, and where we're at and what we really value. So it's like, I like that. That's good. When we're looking at going towards. Sorry guys, it's a real party in the store now. I love it. It's great. It's a lot of things happening. We're looking at now going towards what our dreams look like and what those things go. What do you say for people trying to create their vision? What is that piece of advice for them to create this vision that they see?
So your dominated thoughts will reproduce themselves outwardly. And that basically say what you think about the most on earth.
Yes.
You know, and typically it happens gradually, slowly. It don't happen just like right away. Like, you know, it's not like Midas such, like, you know, but it happens.
Yeah.
And so I would say be very, very, very intentional about what you think about.
That's huge.
Be very conscious of what you keep on your mind.
Yeah.
If you have a thought that doesn't align itself with what your business is, change it. Like, we can change our own thoughts, right? We can change our own thoughts. So change it. You know, if you're having a thought that's contrary to where you want to go, think something different.
Yeah.
You know, the word is transmute. And transmute means to change something into its opposite equivalent. Not just to change it, but change to its opposite equivalent.
Yeah. You have to, it's great. We were just talking about relationships yesterday. We were like, sometimes we forget that you have to reward just as hard as you punish. Like, there has to be that, you know?
Of course.
And we forget that. And it's like sometimes we know how to punish really hard, or we know how to do that, but when we're talking about we have to change our mindset. We have to be intentional with the same type of power that you felt down, the same type of power that you felt like maybe I can't do it, has to be intentional on the other end.
Yes, you can't make withdrawals unless you make deposits.
There you go. Not at all.
Yeah, so you make, if you start making too many withdrawals,
Yeah.
you're gonna over withdraw, you know, and now I'm not hearing nothing you say.
Right.
You know, you're not hearing yourself, so you have to deposit, you have to feed yourself good thoughts. And that's one big thing I would tell people who are trying to manifest their vision, is to have positive self-talk.
Yes.
You know, be nice to yourself, talk nice to yourself.
Right.
You know, talk nice to yourself all the time. You know, a lot of times, you know, you hear I'm so stupid. No, I'm so smart.
Yeah.
I'm so intelligent.
And change that. Even when you hear it, change
even when
it
you tell
around.
yourself,
Yeah.
because you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
and
have
so
to.
I find myself, you know, using Jedi mind tricks to convince myself that I am all that I see myself as, even when I'm not. And you know, I'm hypnotized in that. I'm in a trance when it comes to seeing my vision made manifest. And you know, when the things that kind of pinch me remind me that, oh no, you're not living your vision, you're reality. That's what pesters me. That's what bothers me.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. This is good. Now I know, because this is you have so much knowledge in you. Who inspires you? Like, where do you get all this from? Like, who was this that
I had some
touched something in famous and boom? What was it?
Well, you know, it's a bunch. It's a lot, right? As
Yeah.
far as how I was raised, my family. I mean, I was raised by a young mother. My mother had my sister when she was 15. She had me when she was 20 years old. And so I grew up with my mom. I was raised by a foreign father. My father's from West Africa. And so I had a real different dynamic in my household. And it kind of consisted of my African daddy saying, you know, you're going to work and you're going to be smart. And my young mama saying, you're going to be creative and you're going to be slick. And she's trying to like
That's a combination. That's the winning.
Yeah, because she had to be, you know, you having babies at 15, you got to be resourceful. You got to be resourceful. So I learned very early how to do things on my own. That made her proud. Look, he can do it himself, because it took some of the stress off her.
Right.
And you know, so my parents first and foremost, my mom, my dad. And then I'm small in stature, right? You always call me my little friend, right?
I do it. That's my little friend Faye.
So one of my best friends, shout out to S.B. Thomas. One day she called me and she said, "Hey, you don't act like a little guy."
No, you don't have the little man complex.
I said, "What
And
does
I'm
that
like,
mean?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What do you mean?" She says, you don't act like a little. I said, "How does it?" I laugh. I'm like, "How does a little guy act?"
But she's right.
And she's like, "Well, I have friends that are smaller,
Yeah.
and they act small." I said, "What does that mean?" And she says, "Well, they say things like, you know, I'm too small to do that, or you know what I'm saying? That don't look good on me. I'm small."
Smaller.
And I'm like, well, I've never really seen myself as such.
That's good.
You know, my parents are smaller.
Yeah.
So that was normal or natural to me.
Right.
And I've always had a big heart, and I've always like, you know, I've always, since everybody else seen me that way, but I never seen myself that way, I was always proving to them that I'm not what they think.
That's
like, yo,
a
I'm bigger than
word.
what you think,
Yes.
right? And so part of my inspiration comes from just my struggle, like, you know, being a young black man. Like, my father taught me very early, if you're gonna be, you know, if you're gonna get in a race with your counterparts, your other cultures, and you're gonna have to beat them dramatically just
Right.
for just.
Guys, that'll be 2 times, 3 times better. It doesn't matter.
He told me that.
Yeah.
He said you're gonna have to beat them dramatically just to get even, just for it to be called a tie. He told me. He said, listen, you young, you black. He said, and you small. That's what my father told me. He said, you small. He said, you're gonna have to try. You're gonna have to give 150% just to be graded at 100%. And so
That's
for
real.
me, and so for me, going above and beyond is normal.
Right. You're like, this is what it takes for
That's
me to
the
be right here. What y'all know what even
exactly. I've always had to go harder to get just the average result.
Yeah.
And this is a byproduct of it. You know, this is a byproduct of it.
And this is an amazing product. Finish the sentence for me. Fame is.
Love.
Fame can.
Love.
Fame will.
Love.
Fame must.
Love.
I'm sitting here with the owner, the CEO, the visionary, Mr. Fame of Store 313. If you're in Detroit, make sure you stop by. Fame, tell them where they can find you at.
Y'all can find 313 on Detroit's historic Avenue of Fashion, located right here at 19495 Livernois Ave. We are proud to be here. We are proud to service our community, and we have a world-class platform for everyone who wants to visit and check out all what's going on with Detroit's brand name.
I love it. You guys get in touch with Fame and Detroit's brands. You are popping in here. I love this. I love the atmosphere. And this won't be the last you see of Fame. So stay tuned, CTN Media. More to come with Store 313, Denver to Detroit. I'm your girl, Shay J. Thank you. Thank you, love.
Oh, yeah. Good job.
Amazing. Thank
Yep.
you. You are.
On a mindset tip.
That was everything we needed.
I'm in the back like,
Yes. I was like,
so
okay, I see you, man. Come through with the real story over here. I'm like, okay. I don't know who kept texting me. No, thank you. Somebody kept texting me inside of my vibration.
What up, though, big dog? You alright?
Yeah,
You been alright, man?
Yeah, chillin'.